Hello and welcome to the session on new trends in education, e-learning. Education is the touchstone of the civilization and culture of a country. The progress of a country can be gauged from its achievement in education. The quality of education determines the quality of nation, and if want to be a strong and prosperous nation, we will have to recognize the importance of education based on sound principles. Education is generally considered to be the backbone of national ideals. Education is identified as a major cause of socio-economic and ethnic conflicts in a country. It is an instrument that strengthens democracy by imparting to citizens the tools needed to fully participate in the governance process. Education gives people the skills they need to help themselves out of poverty and into prosperity. With education, the people are better prepared to prevent diseases. No country has ever achieved continuous and rapid growth without reaching adequate adult literacy rate of at least 40%. Education supports growth of civil society, democracy and political stability, allowing people to learn their rights and acquire the skills and knowledge necessary to exercise them. It is one of most important investments a country can make in its people, but investing in education is also a smart thing to do. Education systems are encountering challenges and changes everywhere. The educational institutions and systems in India are slow in adapting themselves to changing reality. Before independence, the education system that prevailed in the country was very much conservative. What dominated the system was the monotonous approach to learning. Dr. D. S. Kothari was the first educationalist who desired the improvement of quality of education from pre-primary till the research stages and emphasized on manpower planning. Though many commissions came into existence, their suggestions could not be implemented to its fullest due to lack of infrastructure and inadequate funding. It is felt during the last 30 years that the changes in the education system of India are mostly quantitative. The changes mostly involve increment in the number of schools, colleges, universities, intake capacities, variation in subject areas and combinations. Quality and quantity in education system is equally important. Hence, to satisfy both of these aspects, it is important to restructure and modify the teaching system to satisfy the requirements of the 21st century. The role of education in a developing society is profound, and hence this role is being recognized as being central to progress towards goals for a richer life for all countries and societies. In India, education is currently undergoing extensive reform, watching the developed nations very carefully, where curriculum development procedures are being carried out extensively. Research and development centers and laboratories are being established on regional basis. These centers are exploring newer technologies such as educational televisions, teaching machines, program instruction devices, computers, etc. India has also stepped into such a process where the traditional system of teaching and learning is supplemented with a new methodology of teaching with the help of technology upgradation. The process of globalization is transforming the world at large. The sense of distance separating countries and communities is shrinking due to advances in science and technologies. Education is the most powerful tool for change, and hence it must train the minds of the educated to cope with the change. In the fast changing world of today, no education system can be frozen into a mold. It would need periodic revision and change to enable the educated to grapple with the social, economic and technological changes. The impact of science and technology has created intricate problems and has engendered an intellectual revolt against traditional practice of education. Various reforms like these, tried in developing countries like India, failed to achieve their objectives because of many problems that arise from the difficulties of managing complex innovations. The full potential of information and communication technologies from computers to mobile gadgets to user generated contents online will continue to evolve and make use in education system of today and tomorrow. It is important to know about the major developments that have affected and changed the future of education and set challenges for policymakers and education providers alike. E-learning technology in education. Education, like any other industry, in many respects is subject to emerging and growing trends. Education is designed to respond to the continuous changing needs of society. Trends in education are always appearing, with recent developments in national standards and new emphasis on equity. The beginning of internet age has hailed as a marvelous opportunity for students and teachers to improve learning and teaching. With the rise of e-learning technologies in all sectors of education, it has made intense, immediate and disruptive transformations on educational system. Leaders in the field of education believe that e-learning technologies can effectively respond to accelerating global competition due to advantages like the following: providing just-in-time learning, increase in accessibility, greater accountability, increased interaction, removal of time, place and situational barriers and cost effectiveness. E-learning can be either self-directed or instructor led. Self-directed or personalized e-learning. Generally, learning is thought as something that occurs in an educational institution under the direction of a teacher, and such teaching should happen within a structured format. Any learning experience that is self-initiated and self-directed is known as personalized learning. It is based on individual needs of the students. Personalized learning takes a deviation from the traditional one-size-fits-all approach. It gives apt feedback techniques and provides immediate strategies for improvement rather than waiting until it is too late. Such informal learning approach is likely to be more effective with a high degree of retention and assimilation. In personalized learning, the teachers become facilitators of student-directed learning process. This method makes use of virtual learning also to make learning interesting. The student is the self-educator in personalized learning process, and he gradually masters all the activities conducted by a teacher: selecting goals, organizing learning experiences, evaluating process and redesigning strategies for greater effect. The student develops his own expertise through active, experimental, self-directed and situational means rather than the usual passive, abstract and theoretical way which often occurs in a classroom situation. Instructor-led e-learning. Instructor-led e-learning is a traditional method of education which takes place in normal classes. E-learning can also be instructor-led. Here, the students can learn their course anytime, anywhere from an internet connected device with instructor to lead them on the other side. The learning activities take place with the help of a teacher directed instruction. E-learning is the use of electronic media and information and communication technologies in education. It makes use of various types of media like video streaming, images, CD-ROM, animation, audio, satellite TV, etc. E-learning can occur inside or outside the classroom. This method is flexible and can be self-paced, instructor-led, asynchronous or synchronous. E-learning is inclusive of all forms of electronic technology in learning and teaching like blended learning, web learning, virtual learning, flipped learning, etc. Blended learning. Blended learning theory is a pedagogical approach to instruction that is a combination of face-to-face, computer mediated activities and online learning. Hybrid courses are often called blended learning, that is, which include online and face-to-face activities, online and face-to-face students meetings, online and face-to-face instructor and students meetings, etc. Web learning. The programs through such learning can be heterogeneous. This can range from web-based provision of teaching material, providing lectures with online support and providing online study courses. This method is used to retrieve, store and disseminate information that is relevant to the course the student is pursuing. Here, the classroom is equipped with live web access, but the faculty may support it with a regular face to face lecture or discussion. Web based learning process has many advantages. If the course specific materials are online, the student can take tutorials at their own pace, review lecture notes and never lose the course syllabus. Moreover, if the textbook adapted in the course has a corresponding website, the student may benefit from it. The materials posted to a web board can be accessed from anywhere, anytime, while privacy and confidentiality may be preserved through different levels of password protection. In fact, the information capabilities of the web have led to the development of exclusively web based courses, where all teachings take place on the web with no face to face interaction. But pure web learning cannot always convey contents adequately. Blended learning is a combination of conventional learning with a range of different virtual components of e-learning. This method is called the virtual method. Virtual learning. Virtual learning is much more than online learning. It is one that can be through a totally online approach or a blended learning method of classroom learning and online method. Blended learning uses a mix of media and methods, combining the advantages and trying to make up for the disadvantages of different forms of learning. It uses the computer software, the internet or both to deliver instruction to students. This minimizes the need for teachers and students to share a classroom. Virtual learning has the advantage of letting the student work on his or her own pace at any place, anytime. Virtual learning can take place synchronously and asynchronously. In synchronous system of virtual learning, the participants meet in real time and teachers conduct live classes. It involves exchange of ideas and information with one or more participants during the same period of time. Synchronous learning can also take place through live teacher instruction and feedback through Skype conversation, chat rooms, etc. In asynchronous virtual learning process, the learning takes place over internet without having face to face contact with anyone. The students themselves have to independently complete their lessons and assignments. Here, the learners use self-directed learning principles to master content at their own rate, at times convenient to the learner, either from work or home. Asynchronous learning may make use of technologies such as emails, blogs, wikis, discussion boards, web supported textbooks, hypertext documents, video and audio courses, social networking, etc. Such a learning process is beneficial to students who have health problems, since they have the opportunity to complete their work in a low stress environment within a more flexible time frame. The trend of virtual learning will definitely continue to grow in the future also. Flipped learning. Flipped learning is a process of inverting the usual traditional classroom pattern of teaching that has been to assign students to study their lessons while listening to lectures and taking tests inside the class. It is a form of blended learning method in which students learn new content online by watching video lessons, usually at home, prepared by their teachers. They are exposed to the contents of their course via lectures at home. When students come to the class, they are already exposed to the lecture content and can immediately start working on assignments and course related materials. Flipped learning is also known as backward classroom, reverse instruction or reverse teaching. Flipped learning stemmed from the problems that arose inside a traditional classroom, where lectures are often passive and provide one-way flow of information from lecturer to the students. Technology used in e-learning. E-learning is becoming an important part of education as it provides new possibilities for students. There are lots of ways to connect two people or groups of people in different places. Various technologies are used to facilitate e-learning. Most of the time, a combination of technologies are used. In the e-learning process, the platforms used vary according to the system or the learning method used. Each e-learning platform has its own way of communication. Computers and other electronic devices. Computers allow teachers and students to access websites and other programs and help them communicate through different modes such as files, PowerPoints, images, videos, etc. Despite use of computers, e-learning method also makes use of mobiles, tablets, etc. LAN and WAN. LAN is the local area network or computer network covering a small geographical area, here school. Here a group of computers in relative proximity to one another allows the users to share and communicate information. WAN is wide area network that covers a broad area, even national boundaries, over a long distance. Browser. Browser is a software that is used to access websites on internet using personal computers or laptops. Some of the commonly used browsers are Firefox, Internet Explorer, Mozilla, Opera, etc. CD-ROMs. CD-ROM is compact disc read-only memory. It is an electronic data storage medium that stores information in digital format. DVDs. Digital versatile discs are electronic data storage medium which uses optimal technology for storing information in digital format. DVDs have greater capacity compared to CDs. Emails. Emails are the most commonly used technique in e-learning process. The main disadvantage of emails is that communication does not take place in real time. DSL. DSL is digital subscriber line, which is an internet access method for high speed data transfer over telephone lines. Animations. Animation is a graphic image. It is usually used as a quick identification to represent visually what one wants to be communicated. It can also be represented as schemes that are interactive by just clicking a button. Video conferencing. This is a process where live video or audio conferences are conducted between 3 or more locations. Video streaming. In this method, the videos are sent in compressed format through internet. Video allow teachers to reach students who are visual learners. They can send the videos through the internet rather than relying on DVDs and CDs. Teachers can also make use of websites like YouTube to interact with the students. Teleconferencing. Teleconferencing is a method where video or audio conferences are conducted over telecommunication channels. Different channels such as telephone lines, local area networks and internet are used. Chat. Chatting is the quickest way of communication. It is a process in which the user gets in touch in real time. The only condition in a chat process is that the teacher and the students should be online at the same time. It is also possible for the teacher or student to leave messages for each other and the messages can be answered when online. The main advantage of chatting is that communication is conveyed quickly. Chat rooms. In virtual worlds, chat rooms can be described as conferences. Chat rooms can be used for communication between teachers and students and students. It is an easy and quick way to communicate in virtual learning process. Some e-learning methods use webcams also in chat rooms. Blogs. Blogs can be used as interactive learning and teaching method. Both the students and teachers can post their thoughts and doubts and clear them out using blogs. Webcams. Webcams or webcasting is usually used in virtual classrooms. Interactive whiteboards. Interactive whiteboards are similar to smart boards. This technology helps the teacher as well as the students to write on touch screen. This makes learning more interactive. Screencasting. Screencasting helps allow users to share their screens directly from their browser. When the screen is shared, it allows the video or any content available online so that the viewers can make use of it directly. The main advantage of screencasting is that it gives the learner the ability to pause and rewind the video. Interactive television. Interactive television, also known as ITV, is an approach which allows adding data services to traditional television technology. It is a two-way cable TV system that enables the viewers to communicate with each other. Satellite learning. Satellite learning is a platform which enables an organization to establish a distance learning program from a central location to any number of remote sites. The communication can be either real time or otherwise. Conclusion. Education has been passing through crossfire of conflicting aims from time immemorial. In the olden times, people believed that education is done only to attain advanced scholarships, polish personality and build character or personality. But lots have changed regarding the concept of education. Even the educationalists emphasize on the utilitarian aspect of education. Thus, right kind of education is considered to be job oriented, need based and production centered. To achieve this, the instructional methods and the learning methods that had been traditionally followed should be revamped and restructured to enable the student to develop the faculty of thinking and reasoning along with capacity to retain the true spirit of academic disciplines. The process of qualitative improvement of education system of a country should be based on the factors influencing human life as a whole in global perspective. But the application of the same should be done according to the local demands and available facilities. A major defect of the present education system of India is that there is lack of proper contact between the students and the teachers. A crowded class has become the only place of learning for students. The only means of formal instruction are lectures. Since classrooms are crowded, however good and useful are lectures, the students cannot derive the maximum benefit from them. In this advanced era of science and technology, the best option can be made use of by supplementing these lectures through new teaching and learning methods. This whole process of reading, thinking and writing, listening, discussing and accepting modification would go a long way in improving the academic standards of students. Today's e-generation teachers and students are comfortable with internet access and the freedom it brings. Internet based learning can be electronic delivery of information either through computers, modem or phone lines. In many countries of the world, the technological infrastructure is ready or nearly ready to support broadband content. The future will continue to dictate the challenges faced by e-based learning as it becomes more commonplace. But as e-learning has become more pervasive, there are growing list of concern regarding the same. Some of them include commercialization of teaching, lack of face time between the lectures and the students, devaluation of oral discussion practice, etc. The concept of e-learning in India is yet in its early stages. This mode of learning and teaching is increasingly used in many cities. More and more schools are realizing the importance of e-learning. In the presence of great social diversity in our country, it is difficult to change the social background and economic conditions of the people. Therefore, the only option left is to provide uniform or standardized teaching and learning resources. For high quality education throughout India, there should be some nationwide networks which provide equal quality education to all. This can be made possible with the help of e-based learning. But whatever new trends are being adopted, it is always important to motivate the students to improve their skills and abilities. It is important from the part of teachers to convey such know-how in a viable manner, to apply it in theory and in practice in an interdisciplinary approach. With modern technology getting more advanced day by day, there is even greater need to introduce the child early onto this new dimension of education. Use of video game to make learning more interesting, computer aided teaching and active graphics should be rigorously used to grab the child's attention. Let me summarize what we have discussed so far. Literacy is always considered as a major problem faced by many countries, especially the developing ones. It is so because education is identified as a major cause of socio-economic and ethnic conflicts in a country. Education gives the people in a country critical skills to help them better provide for themselves and their society. It is a key to unlocking a country's potential for growth. Education systems are encountering challenges and changes everywhere. Generally, education is seen as conservative. The educational institutions and systems in India are slow in adapting themselves to changing reality. In India, education is currently undergoing extensive reform, watching the developed nations very carefully, where curriculum development procedures are being carried out extensively. India has also stepped into such process, where the traditional system of teaching and learning is supplemented with a new methodology of teaching with the help of technology upgradation. Education is designed to respond to the continuous changing needs of society. Trends in education are always appearing, with recent developments in national standards and new federal emphasis on equity. The beginning of internet age has hailed as a marvelous opportunity for students and teachers to improve learning and teaching. With the rise of e-learning technologies in all sectors of education, it has made intense, immediate and disruptive transformations on education system. It is important to know about the major developments that have affected and changed the future of education and set challenges for policy makers and education providers alike. Now, you can try to answer the questions given here. What changes have been made in the field of education with the rise of e-learning technologies? What are its various advantages? What is virtual learning? List a few technologies or platforms that are adapted in the field of e-learning. What is the difference between personalized e-learning and instructor-led e-learning? How is screencasting different from video streaming? Now, you can go through these books for reference. Education in India, written by Tiwari S., published by Atlantic Publishers and Distributors Private Limited in the year 2007. Changing Attitudes to Education in India, written by Reddy K.V., published by Atlantic Publishers and Distributors in the year 2002. Web-based Learning and Teaching Technologies, written by Agarwal A., published by Idea Group Publishing, New Delhi in the year 2000. Thank you for watching this program. We can meet again with another topic soon. Have a nice time.